My children and I had been uprooted due to addiction and infidelity issues their dad had been struggling with for quite some time. We had decided to move to a new city to start over where we didn't know anyone. And because of his issues, sadly, we had lost our construction business and it had left us with bill collectors knocking at the door, calling us nonstop, and no money for expenses. I was able to pick up 3 part-time jobs working minimum wage, but it barely was enough to even cover the mortgage, electricity, and gas to keep us warm. I made too much money for food stamps, so we didn't have any money for food, and I really just didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't want the kids to know what was happening. In the move, we had brought over a hot tub. It was sitting in the front lawn with a for sale sign for $3,000. As most of you know, this seems quite a large amount of money for a used hot tub, but it was top of the line and was only a year old. So I continued to pray that God would provide. The kids and I had been living off a change jar that we had collected during our time in Lincoln City, Oregon, when we had the construction company, and it was beginning to run dry, and we would have to roll our change. So to this day, sadly, my son will not spend change because of it. So then one day, a gentleman called me and asked about the hot tub. He said he'd been driving by for quite some time and had done the research on the hot tub and realized it was a great deal. I really just couldn't believe it. I met with him the following day and I noticed he had a fish emblem on the bumper of his truck. I'm not sure that he knew quite what to do, because as soon as I saw the fish, I just broke down into tears and explained my situation to him. I cried as I told him that my husband had left and that his decisions to purchase the hot tub would pay for my mortgage for 3 months and put food on the table for me and my 2 children. I have always believed in giving, even when I didn't have any money, or my husband and I didn't know when we were going to get paid from our business. But I always wrote the check believing that God would provide. God has always been faithful to me, even when I am not faithful. He doesn't promise us riches, but He does promise to provide, and He always has for me.